call to order of the Commissioners of Stokes County for October the 13th. Let us stand and I'll have prayer. Precious Heavenly Father, thank you for all the blessings you give us. Thank you for this county. Watch over, give us good common sense in conducting the county's business, and give us a safe trip home. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comments?
Each speaker shall be allowed 4 minutes for public comments with the option to yield time to another speaker or add an optional minute depending on the number of speakers that have signed up, while abiding by the 30-minute total time limit. All speakers shall maintain good decorum and show respect and good manners. Vulgar language, profanity, inappropriate gestures, insults, personal attacks, accusations, and inflammatory language are prohibited. The chairman of the board shall enforce these rules, and anyone not complying with these rules shall not be allowed to continue. At their discretion, members of the board may address items from the public comments portion of the meeting during the commissioner comment period. First up, we have Jerry.
I'm Jersey Pavlak. I'm a long-time resident of Snow Creek Township. We lived here for almost 30 years now. And I always considered the taxes to be assessed fairly until this year, where my property taxes went up by over 40%. I considered that unfair, unreasonable. My income didn't go up by more than 40%. And I fully expect the commissioners to do something about it, and if not, I'm not going to vote for any of you. Thank you.
Paula Hall.
Good evening. I know that you may not recognize me since I don't have a sea of our seniors behind me, but know that what I'm about to say does represent a lot of the people that I serve. I had the privilege of attending a focus group last week, and we were able to discuss a lot about Parks and Rec and the vision for Stokes County. It was an honor to be there, but I wanted to take a few moments just to share a few thoughts that I had. First, I just want to acknowledge that we have a lot to celebrate when it comes to parks and recreation here in the county. I'm a daughter of Stokes County. I've personally experienced the benefits of hiking and fishing and swimming and canoeing, camping, and playing on many sports fields right here at home, as my children have also had that benefit. But I do believe that we could do more to improve accessibility across the county, especially for those on the northern side. What I'm talking about is easy access to walking paths, or just creating walking paths, ball fields, ball courts, and even bathrooms that can accommodate older adults, those with mobility challenges, and even parents with small children. If we're really visioning, I'm going to throw in the need for a senior center on this side of the county, right? And you know, big dream is even a pool. No matter what, an investment in recreational opportunities across the county, no matter how big or small, will make communities stronger. And that investment will attract new residents, and it will keep them here. You have the ability to create spaces where older adults can become healthier, younger families can create friendships, and children can just play. That is really an investment that has a big return. So thank you for listening.
You take care.
Katie Tedder.
Good evening, Katie Tedder, 1282 Coy Hall Road, King. And again, I'm following Paula, but this is not about the Parks and Rec or the Aging Planning Committee. I'm here this evening he's not here this evening, but I wanted to publicly thank our Clerk of Court, Brad Langford, for attending the latest home dedication this past week at the Redwood Bend home that was completed for Habitat. Our 21st home, our first one under our new construction coordinator, Tyler Van Meter. And I just wanted to tell you all that we get great county support, great municipality support from all the municipalities in King. You all have been to many of our things before, and our executive director wanted me to just give that shout out to Mr. Langford because he toured the home. He's been to other dedications, and he said this was his favorite one yet. So thank you for that. And I also wanted to invite you all and the public to our November 13th. It's our first, what we are calling the Habitat, and we're going to have that on November 13th at 6 o'clock at the Restore, and it's to invite people to learn about Stokes County Habitat, what we offer, and what they can do to get engaged with our program for the county. And so I'd like to just extend that invitation to you all personally. So November 13th, 6 p.m., refreshments will be served. Thank you very much.
Hey, that's at that building where the furniture's at and everything.
Yes, the old skating rink on Old 52. Yeah, you've been there before. Thank you.
That was all the public comments.
Okay, now we go to manager and commissioner comments. Jeff, I'm going to start with you tonight.
Put me on the spot. Thank you. A couple of things I'd like to comment on. The first is that many of you may remember that at the last commissioners meeting, I commented on the fact that the following week our transfer station was going to be closed for repaving. It turns out weather didn't allow that, and as a result, that repaving is being done this week. So the transfer station is closed this week to complete that task, and we're sorry for the late notice if folks are surprised by that. The second thing I'd like to comment on is that there's been a lot of, I think, uncertainty and some level of concern about the status of federal funding and programs that we provide here in Stokes County that rely on federal funding. And we've been working through that, and the state's been working through that as well. I can say right now, based on what we know, it seems like for the most part, our programs that are supported by federal funding are funded through at least the end of October, and in some cases through November as well. And we will continue to monitor that situation. We did find out from state officials. I found out today. We may have found out on Friday that Medicaid funding has been cut by 3%. And that doesn't mean we can't provide the programs. That just means the funding to support them is cut by 3%. And I do know that there's concern with, like with Eddie, because they provide some transportation services that are supported by that funding, and they're telling us that they can't provide the service for that 97% of what they previously were for receiving. So we're going to have to work through that with them. But as we monitor the situation, as we get more information, we'll make sure that we update the public.
Right?
Welcome, everybody. It's nice to see a big crowd. We love to hear everybody's thoughts and opinions. It's always important, especially in local government, where you get the opportunity, you get to see us up close and a lot. So we do enjoy hearing from you. So keep the opinions and keep your recommendations coming. I stayed busy last week going to a lot of festivals. Speaking of the culture of Stokes County, I was at Farm Fest in Lawsonville. A lot of people, and it was really kind of neat because it was a lot of people from different states. So we still had the people from Stokes County, but there was a lot of different states that were represented, so I thought that was kind of unique. They were very interested in the demonstrations of, especially the old style, the old-timey way of farming. And then I was also at the Habitat for Humanity thing on the, what was it, the 7th, the 7th in King. Great crowd there too. And I love the design of the house that was there. It got a lot of good comments as well. And then, of course, Sunday, I was at the Francisco Phase 1 open dedication. And, of course, that's in my home area. And I can't tell you, it was a nice crowd. Nothing beats the enthusiasm and the willpower of a community that is there. Varies from outsiders like me to people that have been there generation after generation after generation. And then now, even in the middle, we're seeing a little bit of some people moving in. They haven't even been there that long, and they're getting involved too. But it's just great, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about Parks and Rec. But it's just great for the citizens, and we just got some people that they are dedicated to the community. And when they lost that school back in 2015, the elementary school, that drove a dagger into a lot of people's heart in that community. But instead of going away, they united. And I'm a firm believer that of government. Government has its role. I think it's limited to what really government is about. It gets larger and larger every year. We can thank our state government and our federal government for that. But the best thing government can do, especially when it comes to a lot of local matters, is get out of the way. Just get out of the way. And I think that we help groups like what's going on with our communities of Northwest Stokes, and we help with the current staffing that we have, and hopefully some grants, and then of course if we can do a Parks and Rec, then that's what we need to do. But as long as it keeps coming from the citizens, and it's making it a better place, and we still got a few more phases to go, but I want to tell you, it was impressive. It was a good Sunday. It was a good place to be last Sunday. And now I'll shut up. That's all I got.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to welcome everybody here in person and online viewing our meeting tonight. As Brad said, we really value your participation and your input. I'd like to call attention to the miracle in the Middle East today with President Trump and his team's major accomplishment to do something there that I don't think anybody ever thought would happen anytime soon. So we'll see how it all plays out, but it's a big deal to create peace in that area of the world with what their history is of fighting for thousands of years. So anxious to see how that goes forward. On the gentleman about the property tax, I think our board's real sensitive to the taxes and the amounts, and trying to keep them as low as we can. My property value went up 40% this year, and it was even lower than a lot of places we have. I think that might have been about an average across the county for the actual property value going up. We tried to address that by reducing the tax rate. I think we did 8.5% on the regular property tax and 1 cent on the fire tax. We reduced those rates to try to ease the pain of these valuations. We've never had a valuation that went up anywhere near that amount, and so this place is getting really being discovered up here, and the prices of land are just really going out of sight. So So we're sensitive to that, and like I said, I think that's the largest tax rate reduction that we've ever had in Stokes County, I think by far. But we did that in order to try to at least address that large increase in the value of properties. I would encourage you, if you think that they overvalued your property, I would go back and talk to the tax office.
I already checked. I talked to those folks.
Okay.
It's basically the change in real estate prices.
Yeah.
But still, that doesn't mean that the county should just basically spend all this extra income.
Yeah, well, we got as close to revenue neutral as we could. We almost made revenue neutral in this tax rate reduction, and so we're always looking to reduce taxes. We're implementing new software programs and so forth that may potentially reduce the cost of government. We're always looking for new businesses, and we've got things going there. The Duke Power project for nuclear energy comes to mind that will eventually help to lower our tax rates, and so we're sensitive to the pain that the property taxes are, along with all the other taxes that everybody has to pay. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, Wayne.
Great to see everybody tonight. Like to thank Katie and Paula for a lot of their dedicated work that they do here in this county. I know it's volunteer, it's not a lot of pay in it, so I'd like to personally thank y'all. And touching on what Rick was talking about today about the folks that is, well, I sat and watched some of that this afternoon. It was amazing to see some of these people being reunited back with their family, and thanks to our president in this country, who just takes a firm stand and don't back down, and I greatly appreciate him, and that's why I voted for him. And thank y'all for being here.
Sonia?
I'd just like to thank everybody for being here as well. I'm excited to see some of the presentations we have tonight from the Regal Group and from the Parks and Rec community survey. I think that's going to be very, very interesting, and just welcome everybody, and thank you, Paula, for your thoughts on the Parks and Rec survey, and Katie, thank you for being here to talk about Habitat for Humanity. I didn't get to go by, but I drove by and saw the house, and it's very nice. And Tyler, I know since he's been born, so he's a fine young man who's doing a great job with y'all. We really appreciate all his work as well. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome everybody also. Amber got married over the weekend. That's where she's on, and she wanted to have a honeymoon. I don't understand that, but but we wish her the best.
I'm sure she's watching on her honeymoon.
No, I don't think she's watching it yet. Then we need to have a long talk with her. But we live in a great county. It's growing. Never in my long life here have I seen the amount of construction going on across the county. I asked y'all to be careful, especially if you travel to Wonk Cove with the new water pipes going in. I've seen some near misses in my travels. The bridge is coming along. They've got the caissons, all the caissons are in, and they got some columns up in the air. I was at a meeting in Hanging Rock this week. Bay Mickham is not going as quick as they like, but it's a renovation job, and now the opening date is February next year. So with that, that's all I got, unless you got any comments since you're in charge.
I guess I can speak to, Amber might have mentioned it last week about our new agenda software that we're using. It's the same system, it's just being upgraded. But if the website looks a little bit different in the way you've seen the agendas or minutes being posted on there, that's why. All the old stuff is still in the same place. We're in the process of getting all of that backlog put into this new place so that it looks uniform. And we're also in the process of renovating our website. I mean, that's not being touched right now, but there will be some changes coming. And so if there's ever anything that you're having trouble accessing as far as that part of the website, as far as the commissioners go, feel free to reach out to me. That's sort of the part that I handle. But if you see some changes, there might be some growing pains, things like that as we get over this transition period. But just feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help, but that's all I have.
Be patient. This wasn't
Please be
our,
patient with me.
This wasn't our choice.
Yeah.
They're making it.
It was just they were no longer going to support that particular site, and so we had to upgrade, and it was just we knew it was going to happen, but we took our time.
It was never a good time. All right, conflict of interest. Before moving further, does any board member have a conflict with any of the items on the agenda for today, or one that might be perceived as a conflict of interest? All right, we need approval for the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Now it brings us to our information agenda, and where are you up?
Thank y'all. Tonight, as you know, we've been working with the Parks and Rec comprehensive plan that was approved in the fiscal year 24-25 budget. Jesse Day and Sam Stradler from PTRC have been working on this with us, and back in February of 2024 we put together that scope of work. Jesse Day and I worked together to put that together, and you all approved it here in a meeting. In late 2024, once Jeff was here as our new county manager, Jesse, Amber, and I all sat down and reviewed this process and the agreement that we had worked on and approved at the start of the 24-25 budget, and came to better terms of what we should do with signing the agreement for the comprehensive plan. And then in February of this year, we presented to you all to form the Parks and Recreation Committee, and we advertised that for appointments. And that committee is made up of 11 members plus 2 from PTRC and 2 from the county, which includes Stuart Easter and I from Public Works and Economic Development as representatives. The committee has had 3 meetings since forming, and we've had 2 public input meetings and then 2 focus group meetings last week. The public input meetings were back in midsummer. So tonight we have Jesse Day here, the planning director for the Piedmont Triad Regional Council, and he's going to present some statistics and some data from the community surveys that have just recently closed. And all of this has been gathered as part of the active Stokes Recreation Plan, and I'll invite him here to the podium now to present his information.
Thanks, Tori. Thank you, and good evening, commissioners. Thank you for your membership in the Piedmont Triad Regional Council. We value that membership in our regional agency. So as Tori mentioned, I'm going to present some survey results through the process and kind of give you an overview of where we are in that process, kind of expanding on what Tori had said. So here's our kind of timeline. As Tori mentioned, we got a start back in March with our first steering committee meeting, had some public input meetings. So we are probably in the hardest part of our planning process, right? We've gathered, input from the steering committee. We've got the community survey results, which I'll present in just a second. We've had some focus groups. Now, what does that mean in terms of, we've heard a lot about the needs and what people want, but the how is the harder part, right? How to solve for providing, a top-notch parks and recreation system for residents of Stokes County. So I'm pleased to share with you tonight some of those community survey results. So one thing I did want to mention too before jumping into the survey results, we've got great steering committee members. I do want to give a shout out to Catherine and Sid who are here. Any other steering committee members here? and then working with Tori. It's been a real pleasure. But all the steering committee members have donated a lot of their time to the process and helping us understand what, what it really means locally, some of the things we're talking about. 10 active members. We had some great focus groups last week. Heard a lot of things that, I think Paula had mentioned already, having just some of your basic stuff up to snuff, like bathrooms and things of that nature. Some parking lot improvements at some of the community parks. Strategies for collaboration. So you get a lot of volunteer groups that are really passionate, but maybe not good at grant writing or organizing volunteer hours are some of the things we heard. And then also supporting the process of when you say a volunteer group gets a donation, making it a little bit easier to implement that donation, because the county owns the park land, but you got volunteer groups doing a lot of the maintenance. So sometimes there's some issues that are run into there in terms of operationalizing some donations and things of that nature. So that's some of the things we've heard. The other thing that'll be a part of the plan is, as well, is a comprehensive site assessment. So we've gone around to all the parks and taken pictures and rated the condition of things. So you have the comprehensive plan will have all that listed out as a product when we finish up early next year. So let's jump into it in terms of the survey results tonight. So we had launched this back in May. So we had the survey out for several months. We had 415 total responses. We distributed those at festivals and events. So we had QR code that folks could enter, snap their phone, or fill out a paper survey. So I had a combination of those paper surveys and online surveys. Direct emails, so Facebook blasts were really helpful. I think we got 100 extra responses in the last month or so based upon a Facebook blast. And then flyers left at key public locations. So let me jump into those. So what I'm presenting here, not all of the questions. There's some more what I call like slicing and dicing questions where someone said, this is my favorite park, and that's what I want to see there. We're still kind of processing some of that information. So most of what I'm presenting to you today are the check boxes. We're still processing, like I said, those open-ended text responses. We wanted a balance of like not forcing all the responses into a specific checkbox or whatnot, have a balance of that. So this is not the comprehensive survey results, but it does get at, I think, a lot of good information that hopefully you'll find useful as we consider this planning effort. So when was the last time you or someone in your household visited a park or recreation facility in Stokes County? So over 60% in the last 1 to 3 weeks when they filled out the survey had visited a park in Stokes County. And you'll notice as I present this, the percentage on the left-hand column will change, so just keep an eye out for that. Like I said, the upper bound here, 70%, some will be lower, so just keep that in mind as you're reading through the bar graphs that I'll present you with. This one may be hard to read, but the question we asked is how frequently do you or someone in your household visit each of these parks or facilities? So this is where we had a list of available parks locally as well as some of the state parks. And this is sorted by the parks that are frequented at least once a week. So the yellow bar. So you got Recreation Acres, the state parks, and then East Walnut Cove at least once a week are your top three, and then Germantown and Walnut Cove Lions Park. Now you'll notice in the lower part of each slide, the N number is the number of folks that responded to that survey question. So we had 415 that started the survey. For example, in this one, you had 3 people skip this question, but 412 that answered it. And then you can see, at least once a month, folks are going to the state parks is by far, highest visited. But then King Central Park is visiting at least once a month would be your top 2 for that. Okay, moving along. Got a lot of information to share. Based on your experiences in Stokes County parks, which park or recreation facility is your favorite? And so same set of parks to choose from. And so again, that's where the upper bound will change on the left-hand column. That's 40%. 35% said state parks are your favorite. Recreation Acres, second. Martok Park, third. Then Germantown, and then King Central Park. What types of activities do you or others in your household take part in while visiting Stokes County Parks and Recreation Facilities? So as part of the strategy for this plan is to make it easier for Stokes County to access grants. And so in order for our survey to be sort of ready for the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund, which is how a lot of parks were built here, either Parks and Recreation Trust Fund or Land and Water Conservation Fund, they want a survey that not only gets at like, what do you want to see here, but how are you recreating? So they'll want to know what's in the plan is what the survey results and folks from the community said they wanted. So that's why we're asking about types of activities to better understand how folks are recreating. So this is sorted by the top reported at least once a week activity. By far, daily activities, walking, jogging, hiking, that makes sense. But we're wanting to get at kind of what is the weekend, the working family, what are they doing at least once a week when they're going out to recreate? So play on the playground is top, with walk, jog, exercise, and then participate in team sports, and then attend festival or sporting event are your top 4 that you want to do once a week. Now, thinking of the list of activities from the last question, are there any activities you or others in your household would like to participate in but don't currently, and for what reason? So we wanted to find out why are folks, they want to do something, but what's the reason? So this is sorted where with the no facility close to home, yard games, I guess you could potentially do your yard games in your backyard. So that may be, a little bit easier to solve, but obviously participating in team sports, that's not something you can do in your backyard per se. Walk, jog, hike, or exercise, depends on the situation. We had one volunteer at Francisco Park, Kendall, I think that's right, yes. And he said he built 2 miles of trail in his backyard, which is great, but not everybody has that space to put in, 2 miles of trail in their backyard. So those are the other things. Are there no facility in Stokes County? Or is there no league available? That sort of thing. Trying to find out where are the missing ways of providing those activities, and what could we do at the existing parks to provide some of that recreation. So shifting gears a little bit, we asked a question about what kinds of facilities would support and improve access to the activities that you found were really important. So we asked about, could you put it in an existing park site? Should it be in a park near Walnut Cove, King, or in northern Stokes County, or in Danbury? And so these next series of questions will sort of shift around to different parts of the county in terms of what folks wanted to see in that part of the county. So for existing park sites, looked like retrofitting and putting in basketball courts, volleyball courts, mountain bike trails, pickleball, and playground equipment were up there. But you can see there's a lot of interest in, there's not a lot of spread in between some of those other further down the priority order. So some of those are low cost and easy to retrofit into existing facilities and existing parks. Others could be more expensive, like a community pool or splash pad, baseball, softball field, or those bigger ticket items once you start adding lights and things of that nature. Now, the same question, in or near Danbury. What kinds of facilities do you think would improve access? So you'll see a range in answers here, and they change. So more fishing access, an indoor recreation facility, dog-related amenities, soccer field. A lot of those are kind of in the same percentage range, right? Soccer field, football field, you can sometimes do those with a multi-purpose facility, and then skate park. Now, the next question is in and around Walnut Cove. And so our top reported facilities there would be fishing access indoor recreation facility, football field, disc golf course, and skate park for your top 5 in and around Walnut Cove. And then in or near King, so your top reported facility would be an indoor recreation facility, mountain bike trails, dog-related amenities, and then soccer field and football field. And then if we move to northern Stokes County, the dog-related activities are number 1. And then we have soccer field, boating and canoe access, mountain bike trails, football field, and then tennis court for top facilities in northern Stokes County that were reported during the survey. And then a little different kind of question, what kinds of programs would you like to see at an existing park site? And so folks were interested in more nature walking, bird watching programs. A lot of folks want to, walk with others. Basketball league, soccer league, and then boat, canoe, kayak rental program. And so we also have some feedback from those other sites as well. So in or near Walnut Cove, in or near King, Danbury, and then northern Stokes County. I don't have the information in front of me right now. So that's a quick sampling of some of the survey results. And then the last slide I'll show you is just, again, we need to ask these demographic questions if we're going to kind of get the points needed for a Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant. And so this is, asks how long folks lived in the county, annual household income, your ethnicity, and then gender. And yes, we have a lot more female respondents than male respondents, but one of the things we did ask is to answer the question on behalf of your entire household. So obviously you have to pick one or the other. So we've got a little bit of a skew towards female for the responses, but I don't think that's an issue, and probably represents who got the short straw and had to fill out the survey to represent your household. Those are my thoughts. So that's a quick rundown of the survey results. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I was also going to just hit on, just briefly, on kind of some demographic information, just to show how it matches up what we've heard in this, in terms of survey responses. And the good news is we've got a good representation from our kind of the balance of ethnicity. So if we go to, this is our population, I'll skip over that, but if we look at this graph, see in the results we had a similar breakdown in terms of responses. So that's good in terms of the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund and other grantors saying, well, did you get a representative sample of the community? And I think we did when we talk about this. Now we did not, I think we do have an age question, so we can also look at that, so we can see how that matches up. I don't have that processed yet, but how that matches up with this graph in terms of the age spread. And to emphasize what Paula said, I think one of the things we talked about in our focus group is like, well, if you're designing parks for seniors, you're also helping out young families as well. So what's good for a senior with mobility issues can also be very helpful for a mother and child that's pushing their child in a stroller, or riding on a small kid's bike or something like that. So I think a lot of things that we're designing for older adults can also help with young families as well. So I think that's a win-win in terms of investment and cost benefit as you make those harder choices about what sort of investment to put into the Parks and Recreation system going forward. And then I'm not sure if this is a surprise to you or not. We also, as part of the plan, we'll just kind of collect some of this information and report on it for the current time period. A lot of outflow commuters, so you have about 15,000 residents in Stokes County that commute out of the county to work. About 1,700 that live and work inside the county, and then 3,600 that commute in. And this is data from the U.S. Census on the map from a couple of years ago. And then lastly, I want to just leave you with a slide just in terms of kind of comparison counties in terms of what are being spent on Parks and Recreation. And so we got Stokes, Surrey, Caswell, McDowell, and Gadsden. I mean, Surrey's a bit larger in population there, but you know, you got Caswell County, smaller population, shows the Parks and Recreation budgets of those different counties, and then the population and kind of percentage of the total budget. I was hoping to get some Rockingham County numbers because that's another county that doesn't have a Parks and Rec department currently, and I'll get those for the plan. I haven't gotten all that data yet, but we'll add that to this table for the plan itself. And this is information from the Office of State Management and Budget. I've collected it that way. And that's it. I think I'd be happy to entertain any questions. Like I said, going forward, we've got our work cut out for us in terms of putting together some of this information from the survey, the focus groups, the steering committee, and what we've heard around our site assessment. But excited to work through that. You know, put some cost estimates for some of those improvements. So you've got a menu of options going forward to both access grant funding, but also have a plan for improvement and supporting quality of life going forward in this county. So let me stop there and see if there are any questions.
Anya?
Well, one thing that I noted on slide 9, where we're talking about the people we're talking about that they can't participate in a list of activities and they would like to participate in but don't currently, for what reason. And no facility in Stokes County is one of the reasons, which a lot of things were, you know, in blue, no facility in Stokes County, but there is a facility or availability for all of those things in Stokes County. So my question is, do they just not know about them? Are we not doing a good job of getting the word out that we have?
I think that may be part of it. I'm sorry, I mean, I cut you off.
I mean, because obviously, there's not maybe as much availability as we would like to see for all of those things, but in the county, there are all of that's available.
Yep. Commissioner Cox, I think you answered your question, but I think it's knowing and information.
Well, they just don't know that it's there because the question says because you don't do it because it's not available. It doesn't say because it's too far or it's not convenient. It says there's no facility, but that's not correct because there is availability for all of those things in our county. But you're right, it's probably convenience is a factor, but that was not, and they did say, and that no facility close to my home is the biggest reason that they're not using it. So that shows you that most of them know it's just not convenient for them. But there is a lot of blue where people, I think, don't know that some of this stuff is available. But I'm always seeing on the Facebook where people are asking, where can I take my kid fishing? Where can, there is, that's a question I see a lot. And King has pickleball courts yet, but I would say not many people know about them, but every time my grandkids go up there to play, it's completely booked and completely full. So some people obviously know the pickleball courts are there and open. They should have built them about twice the size they did, and put lights up there. Then they could do them later in the evening. But I do appreciate all this data. I think it's very good data, and it's a good starting point for us to know what the communities want, what the people want, the availability, and what they'd like to see in their areas and that kind of thing. So it's very good data, and we really do appreciate everything that went into putting the survey together and the focus groups and the meetings, because it's good feedback for sure.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. That's all I've really got.
Again, thank you for being here. Great presentation. Generating some of the stuff Mr. Cox said. As far as the survey goes, as far as data, I wish more people would respond to this. Instead of, you say you got 45,000 residents in Stokes County, and 415, I didn't even know where a drop in the hat, and it's kind of hard to judge what you really need to do when you're just dealing with a low number of people and what they're asking for. You'd think you would get more feedback from people, this is what I want, especially when you're talking about using tax dollars money, and, but again, thank you, and, great information. One thing I saw there twice, I guess, is just different folks and what they like to do, but the bird watching, they come to my back deck and just look, I got plenty of them.
There you go.
You got bird feeders, you got plenty of them.
Do you know what they are? Cardinals.
Just to respond to the number of questions, it's not super high, but we've seen lower in some of the plans we've done in other parts of the region. So there's 11 other counties in our region, and so we've seen lower numbers in terms of survey responses. So this is pretty decent. We had a goal of about 500 when we started out, so we got close to that. But with 5 months out there, we decided we need to wrap that up so we can start kind of putting the recommendations
what
together.
I was basing it off of, we done a county-wide survey, the County Manager went out, and we got a lot of good feedback on that. A lot of good feedback.
Yeah.
What people are asking for, looking for, pros, cons, and there was a lot of good information come back on that.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Jesse, where you got that chart in there about the percentage of the budget that these other places are
Right.
spending?
Yep.
How do you factor in the fact that we have a big state park right in the middle of the county that's like really centerpiece of the county, and we also have Forsyth County's got a park right on the border that they're working on and just opened recently, and then we've got other ones that are provided by outside activities like the Blues Lake landings, and those they're kind of like parks and boat landings and stuff. So that, when you have all of those that are provided by other people or other organizations, it seems to me there should be some relationship about how much we should spend of our budget on it versus a county that doesn't have any of those kind of parks.
Right. Yeah, no, so that's not normalized for that, obviously. It's just whatever each entity is spending. I think in Surrey County you've got Elkin and Mount Airy that have active parks and recreation departments, but the county spends some on their own, whereas in Caswell County it's all on the county in terms of they got 2 small towns, and I think the county does all the parks and recreation for that benefit.
Those numbers that you gave, those percentages of the budget,
Percentage of the county budget.
Is that to run the Parks and Recreation Department as well?
Yeah, so it's their capital and operating costs.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So if you don't have a Parks and Recreation Department, you're definitely not going to be spending.
Yeah, that's why it's lower. Yeah. So.
Okay, I was trying to understand.
And that's where I was trying to. Sorry,
Go ahead.
Commissioner. I was trying to get Rockingham County, because that's a very analogous situation where you've got the Eden and Reedsville and Madison Mayodan providing most of the recreation.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of outdoor recreation, that's where Rockingham County's starting to spend more, in similar kind of scenario to Stokes County, where the outdoor recreation piece is really municipalities are probably not going to spend the dollars on those types of facilities, your paddle access locations, just those greenway trails, that sort of thing. So.
And my other question, the bicycle riding thing, or mountain biking, I guess is what you described it. The Hanging Rock Park has a big facility for that, a lot of trails for mountain biking. So does that factor in somehow to the overall look we would give it at mountain biking?
Yeah, I think
for other parks or.
Yeah, I think that's a huge benefit. I don't want to downplay that. Just the thought is that folks are looking for more of that, I guess, in their local parks. Yeah, and how to provide that. Do they need more awareness and access? And a lot of the things that we see, like, that's not jump out in the numbers. It's having others to do things with is important. Bicycling, a great example. I didn't just start bicycling by myself. I started going with somebody else as part of a league. So that's where I think in some of that data you can see where folks are really wanting more community in the things that they want to do, whether it's bird watching or bicycling, right? So, and that's where a park location can kind of facilitate that. We discussed that a lot in our focus group last week, but the issue came down. There's poor bathroom facilities and things of that nature that are kind of a bit of a challenge when you want to bring people together at some of these community parks around the county.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
Brad? I think too that like a lot of the people I talk with, that part of the special part of having an inclusive community park is it's a place where the community can meet. So, in meeting, whether it be, you got your trails, or maybe you have an area to where, the locals can play music, or, you can have picnics. I know that, like, a lot of especially the larger communities, before I retired from Fayetteville, that, they were, the Parks and Rec department, they were kind of tag teaming with the schools. So you would have, a Parks and Rec small building, and then you'd have access to, all the athletic equipment or gyms at certain times, and then they would maybe add splash pads and add pools. And I'm not saying that's, we're looking at that here for obvious reasons. There's especially on the northern side, but it's that combination of the different type of communities, the neighborhoods, because even in the larger cities, you can always say, hey, we've got a beautiful facility in downtown Charlotte or something that, is all inclusive and this and that. But I think besides the exercise and I think too, it kind of hits with Paula's group with with the seniors, is that it gives that connectivity to where, as you meet new people, because, our statistics are showing that we're above the average, we're above the average old age in the state of North Carolina. We're actually getting older here in Stokes, and we're attracting more older people that are retired. And a lot of those people who come in don't have family here, and some don't even have friends here. But it's just more of a community spot where you can feel kind of comfortable, and you can still be able to to do some things. In terms of taxes, and I get it. We've got to prioritize what we spend, but at one time when I was chair, we had a joint meeting with King, and they had a full-time recreation department director. But then I don't know what happened, that they don't have one now. But I know when I talked to the mayor and some of the board members, I was kind of interested in, if we could do something joint, like, one director, and then, Stokes County could pay part of the salary, King could pay part of the salary, maybe Walnut Cove could pay part of the salary. And we all went in, and we'd be more efficient and more effective, I think, because everything is so disjointed. If you don't, you can go on Facebook, just like Commissioner Cox was saying, you see stuff on Facebook all the time. Hey, I like someplace to go fishing. Hey, I like someplace to, go ride motorcycles or bicycles, or there's not really one site that you can go to and hit to and say, hey, at the following rec centers or the following places, this is, sign your kids up for cheerleading, sign your kids up for, everything is just kind of like you got to know, where to go to get your kids involved. And I see that a lot in King, where a lot of people moving in that's got the younger children. They're, they get on Facebook. Hey, I got a kid that wants to be a cheerleader. 6 years old. What But I can't find, I can't find a site or something that says, hey, we're registering, cheerleaders or whatever. But I in your, how many just in you, how many in your area of that's in the partnership, municipalities and counties, how many have full-time rec departments compared to what we have? It's just kind of fragmented community stuff.
So Randolph County and Rockingham County don't have active county parks and recreation departments. I would say, Rockingham County's dipped their toes in that. They got a Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, things of that nature. Randolph County, you've got Asheboro, Archdale, and Randleman doing all, providing a lot of the parks and recreation facilities there. They do have an active trails program at the county, though, so they're really promoting trail development for some of the small towns. So they're playing a pretty active role in that regard. The other counties all have full-time parks and recreation departments. The other 9 counties, 9 of the 12 in the Piedmont Triad region.
So my last question is the big one. Is what if you could if you could brainwash all 5 of us, what would it take? What would your recommendation? What is the pathway, the best pathway that our county government can move towards a more, shall we say, sustainable quality of life with the park issues in the county to properly fund those parks?
What I'd really like to do, because I think it's a longer conversation, is if I may, invite the commissioners and the steering committee to sit down and walk through some of the stuff we've discovered through the process, some of the issues that we see, and kind of work through that, explore those partnerships that you enumerated, with King potentially and other municipalities, because collaboration is going to be key for success and sustainability going forward. I could see that in the focus groups. These volunteers are very passionate about the parks, but they're running out of their budget, halfway through the year that they get from the county, and they're having to figure out how to put gas in the tank and get the basic maintenance that's needed at some of the volunteer parks. And so I think that would go a long way. Not to dodge the question, but the other thing I'd say is don't try to bite off everything in the first year. We're going to need some time to plan ahead, and so hopefully this plan will do that. But I'd love to show you some of the ideas that the steering committee have come up with, some of the ideas from the focus groups, and have a more detailed conversation in the next month or two. Is that a fair response?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I was at the Warren Cove meeting, and the number one complaint was, how do you schedule a picnic shelter? Can you answer that question?
Get on Facebook.
That's Facebook.
Facebook's the problem with the nation.
Ask
Also, bathroom facilities was up there at the top. The other big complaint was, how do you upkeep a park and mow it for $4,000 a year? So that's what I got out of that.
Yeah.
And this is just the beginning. There's lots of hurdles we gotta tackle. But I appreciate what you're doing. I would like to see more numbers on the survey, but it is what it is.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jesse.
Okay.
Is this right? Sid's doing the presentation for y'all? Are y'all shy?
That's what you call
miscommunication.
Oh, okay.
Apologies.
I know y'all not shy to talk.
Not at all. Miscommunication, I guess. All right, let's get set up here. We got a slide presentation we want to quickly show you.
Introduce yourself to the people who don't know who you
Absolutely.
are out in TV land.
Good evening, commissioners and friends of Stokes County. We appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about the Regal Group Food Bank. I'm Ben Rolfus. This is my lovely wife, Jill. Okay, we run the Regal Group and the Age 60 Plus Food Bank. I'm sad to say we're not here to lobby against or for any topic tonight, nor we're not here to ask for any money. So I know y'all are upset about that part, but anyway. So instead we're here to talk about the second year success of the Regal Group Food Bank. All right, and we have, as some of you know, Jill and I have been living in Stokes County since 2012. All right, our business is in Sandy Ridge, the big town of Sandy Ridge. We took over the First Horizons Bank building years ago, and we're right next to the post office. So that's where we are. We specialize in retirement planning and Medicare. That's what we do. That's how we make our living. And through our efforts in the community, we really, working with folks, providing the services we do over the course of time, it became apparent that there was a big need for, there's a lot of food insecurity in the county, right? And Jill especially noticed that with her line of work, which is, primarily Medicare, working in Medicare. And we knew after that was identified that we would like to maybe do our part in helping fix that a little bit. So, we weren't sure how to go about accomplishing that. So we did some research, and it led us to this company in Greensboro called Out of the Garden Project. All right, a really good organization. They're a nonprofit organization, and initially Out of the Garden was actually focused on primarily fresh produce. All right, but as you'll see a little bit later, they evolved to getting other types of foods on the table there, and they focused on like food deserts in the Triad area and the outer region. So it worked out to where we contracted with them. So through the Regal Group's monthly donation to the Out of the Garden Project, they bring food to Sandy Ridge. Okay, and those of you that have seen it, they bring this big truck, right? So they bring the food to Sandy Ridge, and we're going to talk about that. And that's where it all starts. That's where the magic starts. All right, and we want to also recommend Jennifer Phelps and Devoted. They were been some of the past recognized.
She was actually the one that made the introduction that made this a possibility.
Introduction to the Out of the Garden. So we meet every third Thursday of the month, most of the time. Okay, there are times where it gets sidelined or sidetracked, but
weather this year hasn't been so cooperative as it has in the past years.
Exactly. So the way it works, each month, Out of the Garden brings this truckload of food. All right, and it's packed. It's a lot of food on pallets and so forth, and they bring it to our headquarters, in Sandy Ridge. It's literally a truckload of food, and when they bring it here, we have our volunteers, okay, that can and do a phenomenal job. And without our volunteers, this thing couldn't be, done. I know Keith knows that. He's seen it firsthand. So what happens is, with our great team of volunteers who help us, the food is unloaded from the truck, all right? Most of the time it has to be sorted, okay, bagged, and put together and staged, right?
So that's some of the process there on the screen.
Right. Some of the food comes off the truck ready to hand out. Most of it doesn't. So our volunteers gets everything ready for the distribution, okay? So you saw some of the pictures of how all right, so again, we couldn't do this without the assistance from our volunteers.
And community members who need food, they actually show up typically an hour before the event, okay? Sometimes hour and a half, all right? They're
Sometimes 9 o'clock.
Sometimes 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours, so
Or 3 hours, 9 o'clock.
right.
I'm
So,
used to them spending the night.
so they line up in 3 lanes, right?
We run it like Talladega, baby.
Yep. So they come in on one side of the office and stage in behind the office, all right? So when the food distribution starts, we bring vehicles through one at a time to the other side, opposite side, you want to advance it for, opposite side of the office, all right? And that's where we actually run the food to the vehicles, all right? And as the vehicle's coming up, somebody that you don't see in the screen or in the back of the office will holler, you know, is it 1 family, 2 family, or 3 families, right? Because that tells us how much food to give somebody, and do they want it in the back seat, the trunk, or the bed of the truck, right? We got to know where to put it. So it really gets to be a high energy process, and you know, we joke about our food bank and relate it to, you know, NASCAR as far as a pit stop, because when people come up, you know, it's no loafing. We have the runners from the different areas, the meat, the produce, the deli, and so forth and so on. They're running the bags of food, boxes of food to the cars. So it's fun. All we got to do is make sure that some of these older people put the car in park, right? And that gets to be a challenge. So who do we serve, right? So our intention when Jill and I started this was to address the age 60 plus folks. They're the ones we felt were hurting the most. But it quickly became evident that there were younger families that needed the help as well, right? So at this point, we've opened it up to everybody, anybody that wants to come. We have people coming from Rockingham County. We have people coming from Virginia. So they come from all over. So we don't turn anybody away, right? And
We've had people drive over an hour
yeah.
to come get food.
All right. So on average, how many families do we serve a month? I think the lowest was like 89 one month was the lowest families we served. The highest was 131 families, right? But the average is about 112-ish. Okay, that's a lot of cars, a lot of folks. So to give you an idea how much food we do donate, we typically is about 3 tons of food each month. All right. And with coordination with Out of the Garden Project, you can see up there on the screen where now we're handing out meat, produce, dairy, deli, bread, TFAP, and miscellaneous. But over the course of last year's food bank, and we count our food bank from August to August, okay, because that's when we started the whole process 3 years ago was in August. So August of 2024 to August of 2025, we gave out over 67,000 pounds of food. All right, that's a lot of food. And that's taken into consideration that in January and February, we had to cancel those months because of the ice storms we had, right? You know, we could have handled it, but a lot of older folks, you know, it's scary enough driving, and we didn't want to put them at risk, nor our volunteers. So January and February of this year, we canceled the food bank. So
We also had concerns, maybe some of our older population didn't get their sidewalks shoveled. We didn't want them trying to carry loads of food into the house and create a situation.
Exactly. So we're also able to provide food on an unscheduled service as well. So one day we got a call from Dollar General across the street. And Jill and I are busy like crazy, and we had appointments and so forth. But we get a call from the manager saying, hey, our freezers went down. Would y'all mind grabbing the food, coming over here and grabbing the food and giving it out at your food bank? So it wasn't on the day of the food bank, so we put together a quick phone call. Jill's got software where we can, with one message, reach hundreds of people. And the participants got phone calls that, you know, said basically, hey, or Dollar General's got all this food we need to give away. Come to the office if you want some.
And I'll put a call out to the volunteers, and we got great volunteers. Again, I can't talk enough about them, but quite a few of them showed up on an unscheduled food bank day, and lo and behold, after a couple hours, we were able to give all that food away, right? So, it's things like that. None of the food that we get ever goes to waste, okay? If we do happen to have any food that's left over, our volunteers are caring people in the community, and they will take whatever food we have left. Maybe they have a friend or a neighbor or somebody that requested that the food be brought to their house, right? For different reasons. It's a plethora of reasons why people can't make it. So at the end of our food bank that day, some of our volunteers will actually deliver food to those people. And any food like non-perishable foods, any of that left, that gets distributed to the different blessing boxes across the county. All right, so none of it goes to waste. So, and just like a lot of things in Stokes County, there's a handful of people that do most of the work. I guess it's 80-20, maybe here it's 90-10, I don't know, but we know that's life. But a lot of the volunteers that work help us out, also help with other, projects and committees and stuff like that. So, for example, a lot of the volunteers are part of the fire department auxiliary, all right? Some of our volunteers are part of the Sandy Ridge Rootins and other Rootin clubs in the county. All right, and we also have the Foothill Snorkel Trail volunteers, right? So, and we also have people sometimes from different churches and so forth that help us out. Let me but as a side note, if anybody listening here or on the airwaves want to volunteer, we could always use more volunteers to help us out. So
we're actually running this Thursday.
Yeah, this Thursday is our October workshop, food bank. And we also have a celebrity county commissioner that helps out on a regular basis. So we want to thank Keith for that. He's there to supervise everybody. So
if you've never done it, you're going to get a workout.
Yep, for sure.
When they drop the flag, it's nonstop.
It is.
Until the food's gone.
You're exhausted at the end of the day, for sure. So,
and it will warm your heart because you don't realize, me and you don't worry about food or medicine or these people. I wonder if they don't make it month to month, just living on that.
Exactly.
So when we had the emergency Dollar General give out, we had somebody show up and immediately started crying, saying, I was just praying this morning. It was the light bill and medicine, and there was no money left over for food.
Yep.
And how that was, so humbling to know that we have neighbors in need like that who don't reach out to anybody.
Yeah. So, I lost my train of thought, but we have, and I'm trying to, it'll come back to me. So, age 60 plus, what's the plus for? Well, seniors also need other type of products.
And more.
And more, correct. Okay, 60 plus and more. Probably not using the correct word, but adult diapers. All right, they're expensive. We occasionally have, actually last week, a gentleman for last year and last week dropped by 20 cases of adult diapers. All right, so Jill coordinates with the people coming through the line. They may have a need for those, and they're expensive, right? So we have those occasionally. We have folks will drop by some canned food. To share.
We do try to keep some emergency food.
Yeah.
I do try to make sure we cycle it out every couple of months. And occasionally we do get pet food, which, how our food bank started was I met with somebody who was eating cat food because it was cheaper to buy the cat food to feed her and her cat than it was to buy other groceries.
Yep.
So
for all those people that help us out each month, we want to give out a big thank you for helping us. Because again, Jill and I couldn't do it by ourselves. It takes an effort, community effort to get that done. And it's Stokes County folks helping Stokes County folks, which is what you'd like to see. Also, special thanks out to Sid Wise, who put the PowerPoint presentation together for us. He saved us some time on that. So thank you, Sid, for all that hard work. So guys, that's it. The story of a successful year of our food bank at Regal Group. And I believe it was a successful year. We helped a lot of people. Hope it made a difference. We're hoping to come back next year and give you an update on the third year's success. So again,
and hopefully the weather will be more cooperative.
Yes. Yeah.
And so with the second year being at over 67,000 pounds, do you remember what year one was?
68.
68.
Yep.
So almost 100 and, help me with my math, 140?
Close.
130 some thousand pounds.
Yep. Yeah, together. Yeah, absolutely. So
I know
anyway.
y'all got to run. Let's get comments and questions real quick.
Okay.
Please.
Sonia?
Sure, yeah, that's tremendous. It's just amazing what y'all been able to do up there and put together. And I know the community, especially, really is grateful for it, and the others that you said that have traveled for over an hour to get there. And there's no doubt God answered that lady's prayer that day.
Absolutely.
That was praying for that food, and just so happened to Dollar General's chagrin that they lost their perishable stuff. But hey, you know, God works in mysterious ways. But y'all are doing a good work up there, and it is very needed and very appreciated with groceries like they are right now, especially. You know, you're just not getting hardly anything for your money anymore at the grocery store. So
For sure.
you can only imagine just in a 2-income household, you know, just looking at how the grocery bill is going up, and it's there's more and more people that are going to need
Absolutely.
what y'all are providing for sure. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wayne?
Again, thank you for this great service.
Yes, sir.
I like the part where you said you turn nobody away. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know some food banks you have to some food places you have to fill out a form, and if you don't meet that criteria, you don't get that food.
Yeah.
You know, I see that pros and cons, you know.
It's funny you mention that, Wayne, not to interrupt you, but that's the way we started out. We only wanted 60 plus folks, but it evolved to where, hey, there's other people that need it, so we open it up to everybody now.
And I saw the tractor trailer. Where does your food come from?
Greensboro.
Yes. So Out of the Garden Project has several different venues of pathways of getting food. Some of it's reclaimed. Some of it is through government programs, being a nonprofit. Some of it is, 1 month we had these amazing steaks that came from a private farm where somebody didn't come pick up the meat, and after so much time, they just turn it over to Out of the Garden. Out of the Garden used to have different farms that they would take inner city children to grow, but that's just getting harder and harder to do, to manage. So here lately, we haven't gotten anything that's been grown specifically for them.
I might have missed it. You might have said it. How many times a month do y'all do this?
Once a month.
Once a month.
Yeah.
And it's coming up this Thursday.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna try to come on.
All right, we'd love to have you.
Like to see you.
So we try to start about 12:30. The truck usually gets there at 12, and we just ask
Gotta be there.
volunteers to be there at 11, just so we can get everything set up and be ready to roll when the truck pulls up.
Well, thank y'all for what y'all do.
Yeah.
You'll be rewarded one day.
Thank you, Wayne.
Yeah, it's just a great program, and in my previous life here in the county working with DSS, it became real obvious to me that there's a lot of need out there at all ages for food and other things, and this is a great service. How long does the portion you give to a family, how long will it last them for how many meals? usually? Or
So when we first started this, the goal was to give them, the banana boxes, 3 per family. And I don't know if that's changed with Out of the Garden. I haven't checked in lately. I typically like to greet everybody coming in, so I'm not there for the food getting put in. But they do try to do a certain amount of frozen meat, fresh vegetables, and then bakery.
Minimum of 2 days worth of food, maybe 3-4 days worth of food. Yeah, it's a substantial amount. Keith can verify.
It changes every month. I mean, like, I handed out juice one Thursday till I could scream. But that's not normal, because some months they don't have no juice.
But it's enough food, even on an average food bank, to last 2 or 3 days for a family.
that's good.
Yeah, it's a substantial amount.
If not longer.
Yeah.
And so people will come and say, oh, I feel bad about, because I don't like this, I don't like that. I always say, call a neighbor, call your kids, call somebody, share the food, because you never know when you're getting it to somebody who might need it at a critical time.
It's just, it's wonderful what you do. It's even more amazing that, you continue to do it. You plan on to continue to do it. But what is your marketing? How do you get someone that drives over an hour?
Word of mouth.
So word of mouth, and Out of the Garden actually posts where they're going to be. They call it their mobile fresh markets, and we're considered one of their stops in the month. And so that apparently they have a big Facebook following.
Well, if y'all ever want a part-time job or you want to do something different, I think you'd be excellent in logistics.
Fortunately for us, that's all Out of the Garden. We just have to show up and pass it out.
I could have used you in Fayetteville. Anyway.
That doesn't pay enough, Brad.
Thanks. And
How did y'all get started? I never have asked that question.
So, Devoted Health Plans, their community outreach person, Jennifer Feltz, actually said to me when we got the office in Sandy Ridge, she was like, do you know that as far as food banks go, we've got the one over in Rockingham lot, there's one over there, and then out of Francis & Co. Northern Stokes Food Pantry. And she was like, when I do the math, that's 20 miles. 20 miles without any really scalable way of being able to see food giving out. Now, I know that the Baptist Church on 704 at one point was doing food and things like that, but she couldn't track it. And she was like, look, I met, oh my goodness, the gentleman from Out of the Garden, the gentleman that was running it before Beth Christ. And she's like, I think this is something that you guys should do. And Devoted Health Plans will go in with you and help sponsor you when you get started. Well, that ended up not working out the way that they originally said, that pre-sales versus post-sales thing. But they did help us for 3 months, paid half of what the fee was for Out of the Garden, but really got us started.
So just to be transparent, we believe in win-win-win scenarios, right? Yeah. So the objective was, we service help out the older population that need Medicare services, right? That's what Jill does. So the idea was, hey, we can help our community. They can come to us for their Medicare needs. So, we started out that route, but it was quickly determined that wasn't working out on that part, meaning their side, right? And that's fine. You just give it to the Lord and you just keep going, right? And we knew that was irrelevant because the big thing was just to give back and help these people out. So it was all, Keith, from day one, an idea to help people, but also to increase our sales, because everything is sales, and, everybody's got to make income. So, but it's evolved to where it's just really outstanding benefit for the community, and we just keep doing it.
The problem's not going away.
No.
In fact, I would garner to guess it's getting worse. In our Medicare meetings for Medicare agents, the health plans are telling us, look, it's coming down to the electric bill, medicines, or food. And they're thinking that people are not going to go get their medicines or keep their light on. But what we're finding is they're keeping the lights on, and they still have to have their medicines. And so they will actually go down to eating one meal a day. And so hopefully we're able to provide them more nutrition than one meal a day, but that's, the reality of where we are with our seniors.
I would say, liken to what y'all are doing, to a real grassroots effort to combat this problem, because something that just popped in my head, I took my grandkids to the fair last week, and I had not been in from like Patterson Avenue and Akron and all that back into the fair, and I had not seen the humongous building that Second Harvest Food Bank has built there that had to cost $50 million or something. And I know they're non-profit, but I'm also thinking, what that building, that is just...
Few people could have that building fed. And that's the reason why we love partnering with Out of the Garden, because a church actually built a facility and told them, hey, you can be housed here at no cost. And so all of the donations that they get in, they're able to turn around and actually feed people.
Another thought I had too, when we, one of the times that we were up at Carrollwood Farms with Roy Carroll, he mentioned to me that he has these huge gardens up there, and he loves gardening and growing stuff, and he said they donate food to food pantries, I know, in Greensboro area, and I didn't know if you'd ever reached out to them I know it would probably be in the harvesting season that he might have some.
So he does actually donate his produce to Out of the Garden.
Oh, good.
And some of his employees have been there helping.
Oh, good.
Yes, and he does send his employees to come help us at the food bank.
Well, good to know.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all coming.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Hope we
Thank
didn't
you for
take too
your
much
time.
time.
Thank
But
you.
we didn't ask for any money, so I guess we had a few minutes.
That brings us to our discussion agenda, and the first item on the list is Stokes County Fire and Rescue Association appointments, and Olivia's going to lead that.
Yeah, so Stokes County Fire and Rescue Association, they nominated Brad Mitchell and Brock Wheeler as service member fire commissioners at their August 26th meeting. They're currently both sitting members that are seeking another 2-year term. They obviously have their own internal board, but you guys have final approval. So that is the first appointment, is the two of them. Like we normally do, we would, you can nominate the two, and then we would move that to action and be finalized. So there's also another one after this. I just figured it might be best to separate them up. So those two members for the service positions, that would be Mitchell and Wheeler.
You want us to
Mitchell?
Mitchell and
Brad
Wheeler.
Mitchell and
Brock Wheeler.
Didn't I see him?
There's a second appointment.
Okay.
Sorry, I just thought it might be easier to go 2 by 2. These two are
the
No.
alignment on the
Nate.
okay, all
the
of
memo is a little goofy there. So
yeah, the lining did not add up.
The motion?
Just to nominate the two.
okay, I'll make a motion that we nominate Brad Mitchell and Brock Wheeler.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Okay. And then the second is still under the fire and rescue, but this is for the civilian member. This has currently, let me see, sorry, I have that backward. It's Brad Mitchell and Bert Osteen, who are the two current ones. So it was Mitchell and Osteen.
You don't want to argue with you.
No, you got to argue with me because my stuff's not right. It is a little messed up. So that's who are the two service members. For the civilian member, it is Brock Wheeler, who is the current sitting civilian member, and then the new application is Josh Branscombe. There is only one position for this one, so you can choose to nominate both, and then you can poll for who
So
would
there's
serve.
only one position, and the people we're deciding on is Osteen.
No.
No,
Huh? No?
no, there's two positions
Brad
for,
Mitchell and Osteen, there are two positions, and they're the two nominations.
They're seeking
it
reappointment.
should have been Osteen.
Yeah, sorry, it was supposed to be Mitchell and
Mitchell.
Osteen.
How do we correct that?
I'm fixing it in post.
That's what we meant.
Yes.
was
I knew
Osteen and
if that
Mitchell.
was my misspeak. So it is Mitchell and Osteen who you have
So you're
nominated for
I nominate
the service,
Mitchell
and
and
Osteen.
Osteen.
Yes, that was my misspeak. And then for the
All in
civilian
favor. All in
member,
favor.
it's it's Brock Wheeler and Josh Branscombe.
And there's one position.
And there's only one position, so we would have to, when we poll the board next time, just know you would have to decide between, and I'll make that clearer when we would move this to action next time. So if you will nominate the two of them, that is Wheeler and Branscombe.
Jennifer, am I allowed to act on this?
Are you involved in the Fire and Rescue Association?
No, I don't go to meetings.
You're not involved in that nonprofit or anything like that, and this isn't regarding budget or anything, correct? I think you're okay.
I won't ask.
Well, we have to keep you straight, you know, so.
So, I'll nominate Branscombe and Wheeler.
Wheeler.
No, you gotta not, we're gonna do that next time.
Yeah.
This is just for nominating, both of them.
Need a second.
And we'll decide at the next
Second.
meeting.
All in favor?
It's all good. Confusing.
I've been confused ever since we started.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be a meeting if we didn't wait through something. We're good?
That's all I
You
need.
good? Happy? Okay, Tori, you're up. We finally got there. We're a few people short, but we got there.
So this time I'm up here to present a bit of exciting news as an independent film production team has chosen Stokes County to film a variety of scenes for a film titled Widow. They hope that this film may be picked up into a major box office hit, but it is an independent film company, and on September 17th I was contacted by Alejandro, their location manager, and he's going to be managing the locations of all of this suspense and mystery film that will be shooting in the Triad and surrounding areas this fall. The film, they have a very big interest in using the Dan River and having a scene that crosses the Dan River that imitates, a film is based in Texas, so the Dan River will be likened to the Rio Grande, is what they tell
Seen
me.
the Rio Grande?
But the way that they frame things, you know. So Alejandro tells me that they go by the books. He's been involved with various other major productions across the country. They will issue COIs and meet any of the county requirements and any necessary permitting or documents and agreements that would be needed to associate with this endeavor. After the initial contact, Alejandro and I have been in touch almost a few times each week. This morning we met at the top of Sartown Mountain to look at some scenes from that area that overlook Camp Haynes. They are interested in some scenes inside Camp Haynes as well. And this morning Alejandro had Don Handfield with him, who is the director of he was the director of photography for Leatherheads, and I think he's the producer of this film, and Rebecca Clark will be able to tell you more about that. So in my time with economic development and tourism, I've been a part of various organizations such as the Piedmont Destination Marketing Organization, and Rebecca Clark has presented to us on various occasions about the Piedmont Triad Film Commission and being able to recruit films to the Piedmont. It's been mentioned in our meeting frequently about bringing many films and productions and TV series to the central region of the state to represent and present our beautiful assets and culture to the world. Film is also a great economic development driver, and this film alone will hire about 100 crew members, and many of them will be hired from this region and area when they put those hirings out. The film project itself will be about a 4 to 5 week process, and there are about 6 to 8 different locations that are scheduled in Stokes County. This film is entitled Widow, and it's an action film about a mother on the run trying to protect her baby. The scenes to be filmed at Moratok Park, as I mentioned, will depict the Rio Grande, and he tells me also, I know there was some question about the production company Threadlines. Alejandro tells me that it's a normal process to start a new production company or an LLC to go along with each film, as it's easier to keep track of the ownership once it's complete and sold and all the money that's associated with that. So on this agenda item tonight, we have the location agreement that the attorneys have reviewed, and then we also have a set of additional requirements and terms for the fee that would be paid for use of the park for a whole day, 13 hours, and then additional reservation requirements that we need to know with at least 7 days notice, 7 days or more notice, that we need to advertise that the park will be closed. But I did invite Rebecca Clark here tonight to talk to us more on the Piedmont Triad Film Commission and the efforts to recruit films to this area. And I wanted to introduce her and bring her to the podium right now. She's the executive director of the Piedmont Triad Film Commission, and she can give you a little more information on films in the Piedmont, because I know there were some questions about that and how it would represent Stokes County. So thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you. Hey everybody, I'm so happy to be here. First, I want to thank you first and foremost for considering this request. But I'm just going to give you a little bit of background about me and the Film Commission. I grew up in Kernersville, the big city, and we came up to Hanging Rock every week when my dad wasn't teaching. So Stokes County is a large part of my life and upbringing. Still, I love to kayak on the river and hike and Hanging Rock. So I've been working for the Piedmont Triad Film Commission for over 25 years, and it's an economic development organization. It works just the same way, except that instead of saying, here's a piece of land and we're going to attract this business and they're going to hire 200 full-time people, I market and promote the area's locations. And they hire our crew that are in the area, our local crew people that, well, we've got about 400 crew members living and working in the area right now. So they get work. So I get money from the cities and the counties that I promote, most of them. I don't get money from you guys, but I still promote you. I still promote you and have been for a long time.
Thanks to Eddie McGee, right?
Yeah, and I'm so happy to do that too. So I market the area's locations and our crew database. And we have locations all across the Stokes County area. I've got 46. I was looking at it before I came up. 46 locations all across the county, but I'm always looking for more. So if you know of a great place, please get in touch with me or get in touch with Tori or Eddie McGee, and they'll get in touch with me. And so why do we do this? Films bring a ton of money into the local jurisdictions wherever they film. they're spending money on, first and foremost, hiring local crew. And these are people that work behind the scenes, electricians, carpenters, lighting technicians, and caterers, and the money's spread out. And then they also, gas, food, hotels, the money goes throughout the immediate area and directly. So it's an immediate economic boost to the economy. And again, it provides jobs, a lot of exciting jobs for young people that we'd like to see stay in the area. For over, well, I'll get to that in a minute. I'll give you an idea of the economic impact we're talking about. So there was a film that just completed filming at the end of August called The Bard, and that film alone, they spent $8 million over the course of 3 months, and that was spent all right here. And that's a number from the North Carolina Department of Commerce. Because this film qualified for the film incentive, they have to show what they spent, where they spent it, and so there'll be a report probably at the end of the year, and it'll break it down even more, like goods, services, hires, and where all that money is spent. So, and like Tori said, they hire about 100 to 200 people depending on the film. Some of the films that I have gotten to film in Stokes County over the years. One is Cabin Fever, Jane Pretty, Charlottesville, let them use the general store for a scene. And Jane, every time I come up to Stokes, except today, unfortunately, I was running late, I always go to Pretty's and have to check in with her. And I'm like, are people still coming here because they saw it in Cabin Fever? She says, yes. She says, people from all over the world have come to Pretty's General Store just because they saw it in Cabin Fever. So it's amazing. It's amazing. And I asked her, I was like, well, how is that? Is that good? And she was like, some of the people are kind of like tattoos and kind of scary. And I said, well, are they buying stuff? And she was like, yeah. And I said, well, that's good, right? Yeah. And she said, yeah. And she also said to me, she said, I always testify to them. I said, that's even better, because probably they never get testified. So she's saving souls up at Pretty's. But anyway, so, and one of the other ones is a television movie called Patron Saint of Liars. I don't know if anybody remembers when they filmed here. It was at Vade Meekum. And that was one of the places that was in the late 90s. Dana Delaney, who was better known for her role in China Beach, which was a big television series back in the day, she starred in that. And Vade Meekum was the site that I had scouted, and that made them say, this is a beautiful place. And by the way, I loved that place so much that when I got married, I was like, I want to get married there. So that's how much I love Stokes, and I love that place so much. I'm so happy Hanging Rock State Park is doing something with it, because it's just a gem. So I work when I'm, and I also, Madhouse was a television series that featured Tim Brown, one of the Bowman Gray race car drivers that lives in Stokes. And so I also work with television productions and commercials and even still photography shoots. Let's see. I work, when I'm looking for locations, I sometimes will reach out to Tori or Eddie McGee or Jessica Roberts. I don't know if anybody knows her. She runs a tourism development over in Mount Airy, and I think she lives in Stokes or Rockingham. I'm not sure. I think she lives here. But anyway, and they help me if I, for a farmhouse that's down at the end of the road that maybe I don't see or I haven't seen. So they helped me find locations. But for this production, they wanted a river scene. I said, we've got that. They wanted a farmhouse. I'd sent them farmhouses from all over the region, and the one that they're filming at is in Pofftown. But I am so excited that they're filming so much in Stokes, because in 2015, the state film incentive changed drastically. It killed production here. We were having films, I mean, like Nicholas Sparks' The Longest Ride. You know, I got part of that in Surrey. And
I was an extra in that.
oh, really? At the Coliseum?
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
And my daughter.
That's
and she actually made screen time.
Oh, that's
I'm just in the
excellent.
crowd somewhere.
Well, that's great. And so
I was paid extra too.
there you go. She's an
wardrobe.
example of the people that get paid by these companies when they come in. And that Surrey County farm that I showed them to get them here.
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful,
Yeah, my daughter went up there.
and people. It's a bed and breakfast, and people come there because they saw it in the movie. It's wonderful. Also, so since 2015, there were some changes that were made, and now, or since then, all these bigger budget productions are going to Wilmington and Charlotte because they have a big union crew. The film incentive is geared towards more of the union productions, bigger budget films. And I think, oh shoot, I was gonna say, I think Wilmington and Charlotte were like, let's keep it, we want the productions there, you know. And so it's been harder for me to get them here, but I work with Kyle Hall and other legislators on trying to get the improvements made for the film incentive so this area can benefit again. And so The Bard was the first film in 10 years that benefited from the film grant, from the state film grant, that has filmed in the Piedmont Triad. The first one in 10 years. So this is the second one. So I'm so excited and happy about that trajectory, hoping that we stay on it. And I'm still working with Kyle Hall and our legislators, Donnie Lambeth in Forsyth County, to try to get the incentive so that it kind of levels the playing field for productions. Because this is such a positive industry. It makes such a great impact on the area. And like I said, even after the filming is completed, if people see a place and they go, that is gorgeous, I want to go there. It helps with tourism too. So, and so Widow, this current film, they asked me about, like I said, rivers. I said, I got to show you the Dan River. And we came up here and scouted. I showed them Moratuck Park because, again, I've lived here. And, I've lived in the area my whole life, pretty much. And been down the river a million times in an inner tube or a kayak. And so I showed them, and they were like, this is perfect. And so, again, I'm so happy that you're considering this. And I just wanted to come tonight. Tori told me, and I just wanted to give you an idea of who I was, because I'm always happy to talk to any of you anytime. And also, just in case you all had any questions for me, I'm here.
Sonia?
I'm just sitting over here like, ooh, waiting for my turn. No. Well, it's good to meet you, Rebecca,
It's
because
nice to meet
Eddie
you.
McGee has mentioned you several times to me.
Oh,
So,
nice.
My daughter serves on his Arts Council board, and we've just known Eddie since back in the Rain Jacket days when he was performing with his brother, and he did my daughter's 16th birthday party.
Oh, my
At Rain
goodness.
Jacket. We talk about that all the time, but and we all. She also failed to mention Eddie has a role in Junebug, which was filmed in Forsyth County.
Yep.
And if you haven't ever seen it, it's a great movie, and Eddie sings a song in it.
That's right. In a
Softly
church
and tenderly.
fellowship hall, he
Yep.
sings, can't remember the song.
I think it was
though.
Softly and Tenderly.
Yes, it was. He
But,
does a good job.
If you could get a Hallmark movie up here, I could check something off my bucket list, which was to be an extra in a Hallmark movie.
Well-
I've got an extra in a Nicholas Sparks movie checked off, so
Well,
I just need to check the Hallmark.
the Hallmark. I did have 2 Hallmark movies here back to back before the film incentive changed, The Shunning and The Confession. So if you ever saw those, but that was back then. But I'm going to keep that in mind. We're going to, that's, let me put that down. Hallmark.
Just one time when I was first on the elected as a commissioner, and I went to a conference in Wilmington. They were filming a Hallmark movie, and I was like, I'm going to go down there and watch. And so I go down there, and they're wrapping up filming, but it's so funny to me because it was at least 93 or 4 degrees that day, and they had on winter coats, and it fake snow, and I'm like, maybe I don't want to be an extra in a Hallmark movie. It's filmed in the middle of the winter, and I have to wear a wool coat.
Yeah, that's no
It was,
fun.
when I don't even remember how I got to be. Well, yeah, I do. I work with a girl, and her husband is. He actually just worked on the Bard. He is a set Timmy Watts from King.
Really?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's one of our crew members.
Yeah, he
Awesome.
Yeah, he was, and also on the he worked on the Titanic movie. That's how he got started.
Oh,
in
that's
that.
great.
But anything, I know all that has changed, and she's told me like they can't work, but so far out of their area because they don't get the money that they used to for the travel and lodging and all that stuff.
That's
so
right.
they have to kind of stick to a certain area now. So
Mhm.
that's why it's even more important to have films in our area, because all these people that used to could go to South Carolina, Georgia, and
That's
do
right.
work, they can't go there now.
That's right.
She's explained all that to me, so I'm all for, anything we can do to help with that, to bring it to our area. I think because it shines a light, like you say, you can look at what is going on in Southport because it's been in all these movies.
Right.
And now when you go to Southport, you can go tour all these places that are locations, for movies. It's really cool.
And I know even like Pretty's has that. I mean, people come up there and she
Yep.
says all the time. And I'm just still amazed about that. But a bigger film can do even more. And I mean, you don't have to look any further than Mount Airy. The Andy Griffith Show, even though it wasn't filmed there, people, I mean, the whole town is built around the show. So it's pretty amazing.
I really appreciate you taking time.
Thank
I know you're
you.
busy to come up here on a night and hang out with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
That's all I've got.
Lane, you want to talk that?
I ain't even gonna try to get close to this.
If you in that movie, you
Thank
can be
you.
an extra.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for picking our county to want to be part of it, and I hope everything works out for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Rick, I would also thank you for coming.
Oh, sure.
This is a fascinating business, this film stuff. I've been here and there where they were doing it, and it's really good stuff. Would you know anything about the tariffs that Trump's putting on the foreign films to try to help the United States?
I have heard about this, and if it works, it sounds like if it works, it would be a great thing because a lot of films are going overseas right now because the film industry is like any other industry. They're going to go where they can get the biggest bang for their buck, and if it's so yeah, I mean, if that actually pans out, I see it being a benefit.
Okay, good. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I have, but thanks again for coming up.
Sure, and one thing I'll add, like when they're filming, I would love to invite you all to the set so you can see behind the scenes and we'll put you in there. Yeah. But seriously, I really highly recommend people to actually come out and see it because it is a big deal. There are lots of people and a lot of local North Carolina people getting work. And this is why I do what I do. And so it's great.
I can tell you enjoy your job.
I do.
And also, I do appreciate your enthusiasm about
Stokes County. It is a
I
beautiful
love
county.
it. I love it.
And it has, yeah.
I'm sorry to hear about the higher tax, the taxes, because I have told everyone I know here, including Tori and Eddie, I said, I want to buy property up here, but maybe I missed my window.
Thank you for coming, and make sure you don't forget us if you need an old courthouse to film a hit TV series in.
That is one of the locations I have in our database, and I have promoted it for several films before. Definitely. It's in my location.
That would solve that problem.
Because they'll put money into it and, use the money to keep it running, to keep it, to restore it.
Thanks again.
Tori, do you need to move this to action?
Yeah. Tori, I got one quick question. Yeah. If somebody gets hurt, who pays for it?
They do. If somebody gets hurt while they're filming at Mortock, is that what you were going to?
Exactly.
They have production insurance. All the professional production companies I work with, they have insurance, and they can also write you in as a underinsured or something. I'm not sure about the insurance terms, but they'll make sure you're not liable at all.
But what we have here is, and I passed this to the attorney, the location agreement that needs to be approved, because it would need to be approved this meeting because they're working on late October. And then we have the additional terms that Jeff and I have collaborated on. And the attachment that was on the agenda had a paragraph about public safety and standby of Swift Water Rescue Team that they want to have on standby the whole time they're at Moratock. But we're not going to run that through the county. They're going to go directly through the City of King, since the City of King has that Swift Water Rescue Team. So we took that out, and I gave you a updated county terms document prior to the meeting.
Everybody good?
And make sure they know the river doesn't go in a circle.
Yeah, that's why the Swift Water Rescue Team will be on
Not a
stand.
lazy river.
What?
So yeah, if you would.
Then you move it to action, please.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
And thank y'all so much for your time and
Thank
attention.
you. Appreciate it. Brings us to our action agenda. JCP appointment request.
So at the last meeting, we nominated Jamie Cahoe to serve as the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council member. I have received no other applications for that particular position, so the board can be polled for her appointment.
What was her name again?
Jamie Cahoe.
Okay.
Jamie Cahoe.
Jamie Cahoe.
Jamie Cahoe.
Okay,
Ordinance allowing sale and consumption of alcohol beverages before noon on Sundays.
So this was the ordinance that it got brought up at the last board meeting. It was to allow the consumption and sale of alcohol before noon on Sunday, moving it to 10 a.m. I believe. We introduced the ordinance at the last meeting, and then for consideration, and then moved it to action. Because we could not take action on it that night due to...
We were a member short.
Yes, we were a member short. So we can take a regular vote. We do not have to be we do not have to be unanimous in this vote.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the ordinance allowing sale or consumption of alcoholic beverages before noon on Sundays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then the Moratock Park film shoot location agreement and county terms that was just presented.
Your motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would you take us in closed session?
I sure will. We have two closed session things. The first one is to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A3, as well as to consider the initial employment or appointment of an individual to any office or position other than a vacancy in the Board of County Commissioners or any other public body, or to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, and fitness of any public officer or employee other than a member of the Board of Commissioners or of some other public body pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A6. So that will take us into closed session. Give me a moment.
Are we in closed? We are in We will wait.
Looks like she's tired.
Should be good to go.
It's still got the camera pointing at the sign. There it goes.
There we are.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.